Hello, I'm Andy Stevenson and welcome to another episode of A Winning Mindset, Lessons from the Paralympics, brought to you by the International Paralympic Committee and their long-standing partner Allianz. Together, our aim is for these podcasts to help you move forward in all aspects of your personal and professional lives. By hearing from Paralympic stars, you'll be introduced to stories that inspire and change the way you think. Stories of facing life's challenges with confidence, determination, and excellence, and the true power of having the right team behind you. If this is the first episode you've listened to, then please do check out the other ones. I've spoken to Paralympic stars like Johnny Peacock and Tatiana McFadden, as well as IPC President Andrew Parsons. And for the next half hour, I'm talking to Australian shot putter Todd Hodgetts. Todd is on the autism spectrum and competes in the relatively small Paralympic classification of athletes with an intellectual disability. His impairment is also an invisible one, which means his life is quite different to most Paralympians. I found him fascinating, and I hope you do too. So I don't know what to call you today, Todd, because away from competition, I've heard no end of news reports call you the gentle giant of the Australian team, and then as soon as you have a shot put in your hand, you become the Hulk. Who came up with the Hulk and when was that?
Oh, that was funny because it was back in the Launceston PCYC days when I was at the local gym in Launceston, Tasmania. I was pretty motivated and I was very serious with what I did. I was dropping these weights and I was scaring the ladies in the gym. and this guy called Big Dave, he said, "We should call you the Hulk, like in wrestling." I was like, and it's stuck since then. I'm like, everyone just call me the Hulk now. I'm happy.
So it's kind of based on Hulk Hogan rather than the Incredible Hulk, or a bit of both?
Yeah, it's because he used to take his shirt off and stuff.
Yeah.
I used to do that in the gym because when people used to annoy me and tell me I couldn't do things and they thought they were stronger than me. And, I kind of bite back. I'm a fighter, so...
Yes, and we'll get into that later on as well through the interview, I'm sure. Now,
awesome.
I'm really fascinated to talk to you today, genuinely, because I've been around the Paralympics for a long time, but I have to admit that over, I reckon, 90% of my interactions with Paralympians have been with amputees, wheelchair users, people with cerebral palsy, vision impairments perhaps, and I'm ashamed to say that you're one of the first learning disability athletes I've interviewed. Yep. Can you explain your qualification, if you like, to compete in the Paralympics?
So what happened was when I was born, I had the cord around my neck, and that created issues, and I nearly died at birth. And it started my oxygen with brain. I've been working with a psychiatrist to navigate my impairment. I don't like to use the word disability. He says, you got to work on your strengths. So we're not looking, what I was born with. We're looking forward, and we're looking forward to the future.
Why do you prefer impairment to disability, out of interest?
It's when you look at a dictionary, in the Oxford Dictionary, it says a dis, like a negative word. So I like to say impairment. So. More of an educational thing, but that's just me. I like to have a more positive approach in life instead of just focus on the disability. You should be focused on the ability of the person inside.
How old were you when you began to realise that you were a little bit different?
Probably when the doctor told me that I was different. I didn't know. I just thought I had ADD, but nah, I had something more extreme. And I didn't even know first up. I just thought I was normal.
How old were you then?
8 years of age.
And so, can you remember how it made you feel to have that diagnosis?
No, it wasn't great. It was like you've just jumped off a cliff type of thing, or a bridge. Probably one of the hardest days of my life, I guess. How am I going to get out of this situation and try and act as normal as possible? And then when I was 16, I said to the doctor, "Am I cured yet?" Because I had to have another one when I was 16. I had to do some more tests. So Yeah, even when I was 16, I didn't really want this when I was born. I just wanted to be normal,
Sure.
live a normal life.
It was your brother, wasn't it, who encouraged you to take up shot put? That was quite a
Yeah,
decision, wasn't it?
I'm not sure if you can have it. He stole it from a school as a prank, and then I took up shot putting. Yeah, so yeah, sorry, I forget details
No,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very direct. So it was at his high school, and he was a very funny man. He handcuffed his mate to a chair, and the police forgot the keys. Yeah, he used to do this type of stuff, random stuff, just be a clown. And he thought giving me a shot was funny. It was a joke. It wasn't. It changed my life. I had nothing in life, and I had this shot in my hand. That's all I had.
It's
You know.
incredible. I'm just thinking of like the potential alternatives, like what he could have given you and sent your life on a completely different path. It's amazing.
I wasn't. Look, I wasn't in the head in the right path. I'm telling you now, but I had some divine help. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just things happen for a reason, I guess. If you work hard and if you're the right person doing the right things, I guess.
So when did that all start? When did you first throw a shot put and think, oh, this is something I might do?
Oh yeah, it comes back to my education days at primary school. I had a really nasty teacher, which I'm not going to mention. It's in the past, but this made me who I was. And if I never picked up a shot put, and she basically said I couldn't throw a shot put right. She was probably right, but I decided to train. All the Rocky movies and all the sports movies you've seen in your life. It was a bit like that. It was like when I picked up, it's just shot put in my hand. It was like a sword type of thing. I'm here to protect people and save the world type of thing. And I wasn't very good at it, and I started just to throw it in my backyard. And this is actually awesome. I'm actually good at something. I'm sick of people telling me I can't do things. And I started to get better. I started to throw over the barbecue and fences and that. And 2 months later, I broke my first record in little athletics in Australia back in the White City days. That's in Launceston, Tasmania. And I basically got my certificate and showed everyone. Everyone's giving me high fives in the class. And then the teacher was quite angry and put me in term suspension.
I'm intrigued, though, about your technique and learning to shot put well. When it comes to perfecting that technique, does your autism mean you have to go over things with your coach more than somebody else might?
Oh, definitely. Not these days, but to get out of bad habits now is very hard. So if you're throwing with your arm, for example, instead of using your torque and your hips, that's another story. That takes years to do. Now it's getting out of bad habits. Just in my general life, when I do something new, for example, it takes a bit of effort, and I really have to focus. If I don't focus, I don't get the skill. I get frustrated, but I have to keep on going.
Because it's a highly technical sport. This is not just you turning up and throwing something. There's a lot of skill and technique behind it.
Oh, definitely. I've beaten people a lot stronger than bigger than me in shot put. It's all about the skill and the technique, and there's also a strength aspect, and then there's a technical aspect, and then you've got the explosive speed aspect of that as well.
Do you think in a funny way, and I don't want to be, I want to be complimentary when I say this, but do you think in a way your autism and the fact that you have to really, really go over something and get it absolutely clear in your head before you do it, do you think in some ways your autism has actually been an advantage in a highly skillful sport like shot put?
Yeah, I reckon it has, because it's all to do with motivation. Life's all about motivation and proving people wrong and doing for the right reasons. I've always had the drive and the passion, and I'm with a sports psychiatrist, and he's working all on my strengths and not on my weaknesses, and navigating life and general and training. And I'm still getting knockbacks now with this COVID situation, and he's really helping me with that situation. I'm grateful to have him on board at this stage. But he's been answering all my questions about mental health. Why am I so honest, and why do I react like this, and what's the studies behind autism and ID, etc. And all the impairments. He's very excellent.
And does the autism affect? You mentioned reactions there. Does the autism affect your mood and reactions when you're competing? I'm thinking about, for example, how do you take on board praise, or probably even better to ask, how do you take on criticism while you're competing?
Oh, I'll probably dish it back at people. I'll take it into the ring. Yeah, I get pretty fired up at times, and I've never gotten in big trouble, but I just challenge it in the ring. Basically, when I'm training, don't ever try and stop me. That's a mentality. I'm there to do business because you only get one shot of life. The song with Eminem, and
quite right.
Yeah, that's one of the motivational songs.
You obviously have to deal with people's reactions once they know that there is something different going on, but you don't have to deal with people's reactions immediately, right from when they see you, I don't think.
When I was younger, I used to flip out. So when I was younger, so and then it comes out there when I get really angry, which it hasn't happened for many years. Probably before. Probably in primary school, I used to blow up pretty well.
But those would have been reactions, would they, Todd? They would have been reactions to things people said to you, or things people did to you, rather than them just looking at you. Or
it's probably more verbal, I guess, verbal abuse. But back then, people weren't educated on special needs, I guess.
Yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic because, you know, as I say, I'm an amputee, so there's no way I can sort of hide that or just wait for people to discover it. It's out there, so it's kind of interesting speaking to you. I mean, for example, if I was working with you in an office or went for a coffee with you, could we have an entire day together and I would go away thinking that you were completely able-bodied? Are there any ways in which I could tell that you had autism, do you think?
I'm trying to think. The way I talk is straight up. I'm pretty honest.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, I'll tell you. I'm working on that at this. You know, it's a uphill battle, I guess.
It sounds like I could tell that you're Australian, but not autistic. I think is that? I think that's a fair thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. But when I'm trying to write things down, I can't do that.
I see.
Add up things in my head. It just gets overwhelming. I lose concentration.
Yeah.
And then if I'm in a test type of thing situation, when I was in high school, I used to go to pieces. I used to get anxiety type of thing.
Yeah, I see.
Because I don't know the answer. I'm starting to freak out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you throw a lot of instructions at me, then I start to panic a bit.
When you're out and about in normal life, so away from sport now, and you come across new people, or you might have to be involved with people on a project or something like that, or it's maybe just, I don't know, meeting a new friend of somebody. Do you tell people from the top that you have autism? Do you wait for them to find out? Do you try to hide it? Where would you put yourself in along that line?
I don't really talk about my mental illness with anyone, really. I just try and live a normal life, and all I've wanted to do since I got diagnosed with autism has been normal, and I'm trying to live a normal life as possible, I guess. Yeah, it's a shock to the system when they say your son to your mum, their life's never going to be the same again, I guess. So I just live a normal life, and you know what I mean. I can't change. I can't get cured. I can't. There's no cure for the thing I have. I'm born with it until I die. So I'm just trying to enjoy my life, I guess.
I'm going to just put something to you in a sort of crude way here, but I think you'll understand. Do you turn up sometimes to competitions, and do you feel that people are thinking, well, what's wrong with him, if I can put it like that?
I don't really think what I compete, really, but you do get people like that, but I just ignore them. because, I'm wearing my Australian colours out there. I'm doing what I have to do. And criticism, I'm starting to get more mentally stronger, and I don't listen to what people say if it's very negative, if you know what I mean.
How do you feel though when people say what's wrong with you? I'm sure you must have had people say directly to you, what is wrong with you, Todd?
If they're not getting what I'm saying, I'll be direct. Look, I've got all this. I've got mental health issues. Or yeah, that's probably a better word. Mental. I've got some mental health issues with and anxiety, and that's the way and people understand when I say that. Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
The majority of the people are positive, I guess.
Can you describe or explain how your impairment affects your body and your mental processes?
Like I was talking to my bishop at church, and he said, to me, you're still a teenager. Your mentality is kind of there. Progressing, and now I'm 32. I'm still learning about life, and it's just a never-ending type of cycle, I guess. I think I'm learning more now than I was at school.
Yeah.
Learning a new skill with, say, cooking, for example. It took me many years to learn how to cook. I used to have tin food, and that used to be my breakfast, lunch, and tea. I used to burn things. Just the learning aspect of things takes me from an able-bodied person probably 10 times. There's more to learn. I have to really train my mind to overcome things. But I'm more focused, and once I get that, it stays with me. So it's like a gift. It's not like a disability. It's like an ability. It has become a lot easier living with a learning impairment, I guess. Because the way I use these apps on my phone is like the vision impaired people do. It was actually a vision impaired Russell Short. He showed me all these apps on his phone, how to read emails and all that. Oh, this is awesome. I'm learning off these guys,
So you have to sort of work harder at something, or maybe do it a few more times than somebody else, but then once you have it, you have it. It stays with you then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it does stay with me, but not everything. Like my writing, I can't write. My spelling, I can't spell, can't add up. But I use my phone for everything, and when I'm doing my massage at school, I use a voice activation device on my phone. When I'm texting, I'm not actually texting. I'm using a voice activation system, Safari, for example, and Dragon. They're the programs I use to do my communications with people. And when I'm reading emails, I convert it to text to speak. So I'm using my knowledge. I'm not using my disability. I'm using my abilities to understand, to survive in this world and cope.
Do you ever sit there and think, and I ask this because I know myself, I was actually born, I'm an amputee from birth, and I sometimes sit there and think, wow, thank God I was born in, I was born in 1981, and I know sort of you're similar, but, thank God I was born in this time where when I became an adult, there were touch screens and there was, computers and phones. And do you ever think that about technology?
I think yes, because the world is progressing and we're a blessed generation, I guess, and everyone's getting more equal in life. Just because you've been born with an impairment, it could be anything, and nobody's perfect in this world, but everyone on this earth, I strongly believe, are here for a purpose, and everyone's here on their own mission and journey.
I think I probably know the answer to this, but do you ever have to ask other people for help, strangers for help?
For directions, yeah.
Right.
I get lost pretty easily. So. Yeah. And then sometimes I don't speak English very properly, but yeah. Just communication issue, I struggle with, I guess, relating to people. And then if you talk negative to me, I get a bit anxious. So I think people are having a go at me all the time, but they're not. They're joking.
Yeah.
I do joke around, but sometimes if you're a stranger, I don't know if you're joking or not. It depends who you are.
And how important is routine to you, by the way? Is that something that your impairment kind of heightens the need to do things at the same time, same day?
Oh, definitely. If you tell me to meet somewhere and you're not there, that does my head in. And then if you tell me, and if you try and throw a lot of instructions at me, I start to get lost. So don't ever throw spanners in the works because I hate it.
The kind of obvious follow-on question to that then is how you have dealt with this crazy year where obviously you were expecting to train and then go and compete in Tokyo, and now that's all been put off for a year. How on earth have you got your head around that?
I've had to adjust. Like I had the Victorian Institute of Sport drop off some weights for me to do my weightlifting training for my shot putting. And then I started to drop the weights on the floor, and then the neighbours started to get cranky. And then I had to go back to the old powerlifting days. I couldn't do my snatches and cleans. I had to go back to doing squat and bench press. So I decided, look, I'm just going to focus on things that I can do and do them the best I can.
So what are your realistic aims for Tokyo next year? As I say, you won gold in London, bronze in Rio.
Yep.
What is Todd Hodgetts going to win in Tokyo?
Hopefully there is a games. I've got to get picked in the team first. I even at my start, I've always gone one step at a day, and one time of a day, one moment. I'm going to think about eating before I'm throwing, that type of thing. But if I get all my technique right, who knows? Like I've made a vow that I'm going to retire 40 years of age. So win, lose or draw, that's what I'm going to do. So I've still got another 8 years.
I just want to ask you more broadly about intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities at the Paralympics, because there are currently only 3 sports at the Paralympics where people like yourself can compete. That's athletics, swimming and table tennis. How important is the Paralympics, do you think, in promoting sport for people with intellectual disabilities, or actually even just disabilities that aren't visible?
I think it's very important because back in the 60s, there was no opportunities for people. And now there's opportunities for everyone to able to compete on the world stage, I guess. I think it's very important.
You mentioned the opportunities that are available now. What advice would you give to somebody listening that has autism, or perhaps is the parent of somebody with autism, who is showing an interest in sport?
Give them good encouragement. Don't tell them they can't do it. It's a hard battle. The war, there is an opportunity there. Don't give up. You're going to cop a lot of negative, but don't listen to negative people. Listen to positive people. You only get one shot at life, that type of thing. And it's not the end of the world having autism at all. It's, my life's beginning now. I'm still learning things. It's not over until it's over. That's what one of Rocky's movies. That's one of my mottos. And you just got to keep going, I guess. Keep on keeping on.
You've had your Rocky moments, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come. And I mean Rocky I mean Rocky as in Sylvester Stallone, not Rocky as in difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look up to Stallone. He's my favourite actor. And Rocky 4 was my favourite movie. And after Rocky 5, it just went downhill. They ruined the story.
Yeah, I was going
to
say.
To me, there's only 4 Rockies.
Yeah, because what was the most recent one that was a bit of a disaster? Rocky.
Creed 2.
Exactly. Yeah. So we must be on.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't bad. It was they should have called it something else. They should have They should have did 5. He should have been world champion. It should have been the end. He should have beaten Tommy Gunn, knocked him out. It would have been a fairy tale ending. They just leave it like that. It's like Terminator movies too, as well. Yeah. There's only 2 Terminators in my books.
Well, I like to think that in a few years' time we'll see, I don't know, Rocky 8, let's call it. Rocky 8 starring Todd Hodgetts. That would be a nice way to round off your career.
I won't be doing boxing. I really need to get a job, I guess.
No.
I'm just saying, but yeah, all I've done in my life is train
Yeah.
my backside off and proved a lot of knockers wrong and won some hearts on the way, I guess. Bit of a love situation, I guess.
And when you sit back, Todd, and reflect on how far you've come, you've given a lot to sport, there's no doubt about that. But sport and the Paralympics have given you so much too, haven't they?
Oh, definitely. I've travelled around the world. Went to London. I went to Rio. I went to Europe. I've been to South America. Been to America. I've been all these places. But a local boy from Tasmania, Launceston, who never thought that, who never had anything in life, because people said I had a few learning difficulties. Becomes the undisputed champion of the world, It's an awesome feeling, And I was very lucky to be alive. Like the person who had a cord around their neck and nearly died when they were born has done pretty well.
Well, that was Todd Hodgetts, either the Hulk or the gentle giant, depending on what mood he's in. Really interesting to hear about life with an intellectual disability and an invisible one. Please do subscribe to this podcast and listen to earlier episodes. Next week, my guest will be someone who's gone through so much and virtually achieved it all already in the world of para-canoeing, and yet he's still only 17. It's Hungarian Peter Paukis. Speak then.